to talk about how learning how to live life in this free way can feel uncomfortable. I know it sounds crazy because, of course, it feels mostly good, but sometimes it's just a struggle not to fall back into old patterns. Growing up, I learned how to shapeshift to survive. My household was often a lot of chaos. And so I learned how to read the room, hold my tongue, say what needed to be said, or not say anything just to keep the peace. And this played itself out mostly in relationships with men. And then when I got to high school, I became a rebellious teen. Looking back on that, and that was really because I was trying to have control over something, anything. Because when you grow up in chaos, control feels like safety. Me being a wild thing, that was a wild thing, definitely was a cry for help, support, control. I became a master at managing situations, not to manipulate in a harmful way, but just like to protect myself. And what I've learned was that you don't have to be a bad person to be controlling. And manipulation isn't always malicious. Sometimes it's just survival. That's really what it is. I carried this way of being well into adulthood, into business relationships, personal relationships, allowing mistreatment and calling it normal, excusing people's behaviors and finding ways to justify it. Always finding the good in people. It's ridiculous, really, to find the good in people who repeatedly harming me. It's wild. Even now, after all the healing I've done, there's this little piece of me that always says, like, just be nice, just say the right thing, don't rock the boat. And I've come to understand that that's not kindness, that's just fear and old conditioning. That is like this version of self-abandonment that I'm trying to use and dress it up as peace. And when I really think about it, I realize that me trying to keep the peace has always been me trying to control outcomes. It has been. If I say this or if I act a certain way, maybe it won't blow up. But that's not peace. That is performance. That is manipulation wrapped up in this form of self-protection. And I learned that letting go of that pattern is courageous. That takes strength. And I'll be honest, it's super uncomfortable because when you first start to heal, your mind knows what's right, but your body, your instinct tell you to go back and fall in those old patterns. It's hard. It feels unsafe to stop bending to fit into someone else's story or version of you. And so you wrestle with that. And then you start to realize that your instincts weren't always built on truth. They were built on trauma, and unlearning them is hard work. But now I know I don't need to shapeshift anymore. I don't need to control what was never mine to hold. I get to choose me. Let the chips fall where they may. And I know that as long as I am aligned, it's safe. I'll see you tomorrow.